All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Logical reasoning. Another section. All right. Any museum that owns the rare stamp that features an airplane printed upside down should not display it. Why? Ultraviolet light causes red ink to fade, and a substantial portion of the stamp is red. If the stamp is displayed, it will be damaged. It should be kept safely locked away, even though this will deny the public the chance to see it. Is there any way you can display it in maybe a case that blocks ultraviolet light? The reasoning above most closely conforms to which one of the following principles? Museum display cases should protect their contents. No, red ink should not. A museum piece that would be damaged by a display should not be displayed. Okay, yes. Many diet-conscious consumers are excited about new fake fat products designed to give food the flavor and consistency of fatty foods, yet without fat's harmful effects. Okay. Consumers who expect the new fat substitute to help them lose weight are likely to be disappointed, however. Research has shown that when people knowingly or unknowingly eat foods containing fake fat, they tend to take in at least as many additional calories as are saved by eating fake fat. So the conclusion, I'm going to assume the conclusion is basically fake fat doesn't really help people lose weight. Or substituting fat for fake fat doesn't help people lose weight, as many people had anticipated, let's say. Yeah, they're not going to help you lose weight. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm basically trying to predict what the answer is and then see if I can find the answer. Banking analysts. Banks often offer various services to new customers at no charge, but this is not an ideal business practice since regular long-term customers who make up the bulk of the business for most banks are excluded from these special offers. Okay. Which one of the following, if true, most strengthens the banking analyst's argument? Well, something that could probably strengthen it would be long-term customers, when they find out that they're not included in these special offers, they tend to leave. So you could say, yeah, that makes sense. So that's why it's not an ideal business practice. Most banks have similar charges for most services and pay similar interest rates. Okay, irrelevant. Banks do best when offering special privileges only. This could strengthen it. It could. But the only is kind of throwing me off. Okay, offering services at no charge to all of its current customers would be prohibitively expensive. No, this would weaken the argument. Once they have chosen a bank, people tend to remain loyal to the bank. This would weaken his argument. Some banks. This would weaken it too. Okay, I'm gonna have to go with B. Medical research articles cited in popular newspapers or magazines are more likely than other medical research articles to be cited in subsequent medical research. Medical research articles cited in popular magazines or newspapers are more likely than other medical research articles to be cited in subsequent medical research. Okay, so if it's being cited in a magazine or a newspaper, maybe more people know about it. So when someone else does an experiment and they publish something, they're more likely to remember that literature than any other literature. Okay, that makes sense. It's more popular. Thus, it appears that medical researchers' judgments of the importance of prior research are strongly influenced by the publicity received by that research and do not strongly correspond to the research's true importance. Yeah, true importance, or like if the study was conducted well, they might just assume that because it's in the research, it's in the newspaper or the magazine, that it's a good study. The panelist's argument is most vulnerable to criticism on the grounds that it... Well, I'd say you're assuming that they haven't read all the literature. Obviously they haven't, but you're assuming that the only literature that they know about is the one that's in newspaper or magazines, and that's why they're citing it again, rather than it being a good study or actually being relevant. Yeah, that could be another thing too. What if these newspapers and magazines do a good job of identifying the most important medical research articles? And it's not so much publicity. Well, it could be publicity, but it could be like publicity that they deserve, right? No. Fails to consider the possibility that popular newspapers, magazines are able to reveal. I feel like this would strengthen his argument. I think it's B. Lahar. Let me turn this off. We must now settle on a procedure for deciding on meeting agendas. Okay. Fair. You want to keep things organized. Our club's constitution allows 3 options. Unanimous consent. Oh, deciding. Oh, I see. Okay. So how do we come to the conclusion on what we're going to be doing? Our club's constitution allows 3 options: unanimous consent, majority vote, or assigning the task to a committee. Unanimous consent is unlikely. Forming a committee has usually led to factionalism and secret deals. Clearly, we should subject meeting agendas to majority vote. Claims that one procedure is the appropriate method for reaching every decision in the club. Yeah. Like, what if there are some things that are so radical or so... What if some things require unanimous consent? What is her argument? Like, given the fact that unanimous consent is unlikely, and that forming a committee has led to corruption, let's say, clearly we should subject meeting agendas to majority vote, because that's all we have left, right? I don't know, did she say that? Recommends a choice based on the elimination of alternative choices. That's literally what she did. Like, 1-to-1. Like, that's what she did. I'm gonna go with D. Because it's a must be true question. This is literally what happened. Claims that she didn't say for every decision. Maybe you can infer that. I'll bookmark that one. Loyal anti-tobacco activists are calling for expanded anti-smoking education programs paid for by revenue from heavily increased taxes on cigarettes sold in the city. The reasoning in the argument. Okay, let's read this again. Local anti-tobacco activists are calling for expanded anti-smoking education programs paid for by revenue from heavily increased taxes on cigarettes sold in the city. So they want to use they want to increase taxes on cigarettes, use that revenue to educate people on anti-smoking. Okay. Although the effectiveness of such education programs is debatable, there is strong evidence that the taxes. Okay, so the education program, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We don't know. There is strong evidence that the taxes themselves would produce a sought-after reduction in smoking. Okay, so people limit their smoking, maybe not due to the education itself, but to the fact that it costs so much to buy cigarettes. Surveys show that cigarette sales drop substantially in cities that impose stiff tax increases on cigarettes. Okay, so the main argument, the main conclusion is that it's the taxes, the stiff taxes that drop smoking. It's not so much the education, anti-smoking education. Which of the following, if true, most undermines the reasoning in the argument above? A city-imposed tax on cigarettes will substantially reduce the amount of smoking in the city if the tax is... No, that's basically what they said. So now, consumers are more likely to continue buying a product if its price increases due to higher taxes than if its price increases for some other reason. Consumers are more likely to continue buying a product. The only thing that increases is the taxes. People are still probably going to buy it. This would undermine it, but I don't know if I can, because they literally said that. Okay, usually they said that the stiff tax increases lower cigarette use, but this is saying that, you know, if the only thing that goes up is taxes, people are still gonna buy. If something else went up, maybe they would stop. But if it's only the taxes, they're still gonna buy. So I'm gonna keep this open. Usually, cigarette sales will increase substantially if the areas surrounding a city after that city impose. Usually, cigarette sales will increase substantially in the area surrounding a city after that city imposes stiff taxes on cigarettes. Okay, so basically what this is saying is that, okay, fine, you increase the taxes on cigarettes in Bolingbrook. People are just going to go to the 7-Eleven in Naperville, Plainfield, Romaville, get their cigarettes and go home. Okay, fair. Now, yes, I think this would... Yeah, because this, literally, they said the opposite. So, okay. People who are well informed about the effects of long-term tobacco use are significantly less likely to smoke than people. Okay, well, they said the education isn't working. We don't know about this. Well, what's the main goal? Is it to just stop cigarette use in general or in the specific city? So, okay, this is... Which of the following, if true, most undermines the reasoning in the argument? What is the reasoning? So the argument is that higher taxes equals less smoking. Consumers are more likely to continue buying a product if its price increases due to higher taxes than if its price... The main thing is the price, right? they're saying here that higher taxes drops cigarette sales. This would mostly undermine it. I have to go with B. Well, they also need to be hearing the sounds, right? So it's not just what's coming out, but also what's going in. Yeah, so this is assuming that all it is, it's motor, it's a motor. Yeah, which of the following is an assumption? Okay, you're assuming that all speech is just motor control. But one could argue that it's motor control, as well as, like, you need to learn these words, like, in your head, know what you're saying, right? Know what something means. Okay, I like A. Irrelevant. No, she says the opposite. Caldwell. The government recently demolished a former naval base. Among the complex's facilities were a gymnasium, a swimming pool, office buildings, gardens, and housing for hundreds of people. Of course, the government was legally permitted to use these facilities as it wished, but clearly using them for the good of the community would have benefited everyone, and thus the government's actions were not only inefficient but immoral. Well, no, what if it was a moral action? Because what if these facilities have not been maintained? Or what if they were not safe? Um, and who knows what the government wants to do with it now that it's all completely torn down. Um, yeah, you're assuming that this would have benefited the people. Maybe it would have made their lives worse. Because, yeah, imagine you're in a very old building. Um, it could be dangerous. Okay. Yeah, true, true. Yeah. Yeah, because can you say that I'm immoral? Like, let's say, would I be immoral for selling my car rather than giving it away to someone for free? I don't think so. Especially, we're saying that this is the government's property. They can do whatever they want to it. So, something can be morally permissible, even if the alternative would have benefited more people. Yeah, yeah. Like, let's say I have a house. I want to sell this house to someone else. Why not just give it away? let 10 people live in it, rather than selling it to like one person or one family of 3, 4, 5 people. Reducing stress lessens a person's sensitivity to pain. So the less stressed you are, the more sensitive. Wait. Okay, so if you're less stressed, then what? You can handle more pain? You're not as sensitive to pain? Pain doesn't really do much to you if you're less stressed? Oh, yeah, well, okay, the biggest assumption here is you're assuming that these people's stress was released or reduced based on listening to these tapes or listening to the music tape. How were you able to measure that their stress was reduced? Yeah, an assumption that you're assuming that listening to music reduces stress. Samuel, because communication via computer is usually conducted privately and anonymously between people who would otherwise interact in person. Because communication via computer is usually conducted privately and anonymously between people who would otherwise interact in person, contributes to the dissolution, not the creation of lasting communal bonds. Well, the thing that they're disagreeing about is that Samuel thinks that, um, yeah, they're disagreeing on literally. You think that communication via computer replaces the more intimate forms of communication and interaction. Like, what is this replacing? What are we doing instead of? We're doing computer communication instead of what? That's what they're disagreeing about. Mm-hmm. Spreading iron particles. Wait, hold on, let me. Okay. Spreading iron particles over the surface of the Earth's ocean, okay, would lead to an increase in phytoplankton, which would decrease the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and thereby counteracting the greenhouse effect. Okay, so iron leads to phytoplankton, more phytoplankton leads to less carbon dioxide, less carbon dioxide lowers the greenhouse gas effect. But while counteracting the greenhouse effect is important, the side effects of an iron seeding strategy have yet to be studied. Okay, I like that. Since the oceans represent such an important resource, this response to the greenhouse effect should not be implemented immediately. Well, maybe you can still implement it, but doing it at a smaller scale. So maybe don't fill the entire ocean with this. It's a small part of it. The reasoning above most closely conforms to which one of the following principles? The reasoning above most closely conforms to which one of the following principles? A problem-solving strategy should be implemented if the side effects of the strategy are known. I'm assuming that the author would agree with that. So, okay, I'll keep that. Or maybe it should only be implemented once the side effects are known. Implementing that alters an important resource is impermissible if the consequences are not adequately understood. We should not implement a problem-solving strategy. We should not implement a problem-solving strategy if the consequences of doing so are more serious than the problem itself. Okay, well, this is gonna be a tough question because, like, these things are things that maybe I agree with, but does it say it in the passage? Okay, spreading iron particles. Yeah, okay, so this might be good to do, but we don't know what the side effects are, and because oceans are so important, we should take it slow. So don't do this until we understand what the side effects are. So don't do it until we understand what the side effects are. Okay, so I like B the best. No, well, it's just saying that we don't know what the side effects are. It's not saying that we think the side effects are going to be bigger than the problem. No, we don't know what the side effects are. We should not implement a problem-solving strategy if that strategy requires altering. No, it can alter the important resource as long as the side effects aren't huge. No, because they're saying that even if there's not evidence, or not, okay, as long as there is a possibility that a strategy. No, we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to go with B. No matter how conscientious they are, historians always have biases that affect their work. Hence, rather than trying to interpret historical events, historians should instead interpret what the people who participated in historical events thought about those events. So instead of looking at a historical event, look at the people that were involved in that historical event and look at what they said about it. And that's what you should be commenting on, not the historical event itself. Well, the argument fails to consider the possibility that historians have, like, whenever they interpret historical events, what do you read? You read, like, you don't read some abstract version of it. You read, maybe if you're trying to interpret, I don't know, maybe you're trying to interpret that day in Montgomery, I think it was Montgomery, Georgia, when the fire hoses were released and the dogs were released onto civil rights protesters. What do you read? You probably read eyewitness accounts of that day. So yeah, you're assuming that you're failing to consider the possibility that the historians are already interpreting historical events based on the people who participated in those historical events, like what they thought, what their thoughts were, what they experienced. Okay, so my prediction was way off. Let's see. Historians who have different biases. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so I only completed 11. Okay, cool. So now we're going to guess, and then we're going to come back to this question. So C, that is my lucky letter. So this is the strategy. Take as much time as you want. You should not be solving all the questions, especially given that I'm still new at this. I'm not solving all the questions, but the questions that I am answering, I need to be getting 100% right. So my accuracy should be like 85+%. Okay. The reasoning in the argument is most vulnerable to criticism on the grounds that the argument fails to consider the possibility that wait, okay, you literally just said no matter how conscientious they are, historians always have biases that affect their work. So it doesn't matter what they do. You're saying that they will always have biases that affect their work. Hence, rather than trying to interpret historical events, historians should instead interpret what the people who participated in historical events thought about those events. Yeah, how do you know that their biases are not going to leach into that too? Okay. Historians who have different biases often agree, okay, irrelevant. Scholars in disciplines other than history also, okay, irrelevant. Many of the ways in which historians' biases affect their work have been identified. Okay, irrelevant. Not because what they're saying is that instead of using one technique to interpret history, use this different technique, because this different technique might not be as biased. But originally you started it by saying that they will always have biases. Yes, E. Humanitarian considerations aside, sheer economics dictates that country X should institute, as country Y has done, a nationwide system of air and ground transportation for conveying seriously injured persons to specialized trauma centers. Okay, so apparently country Y has done this like helicopter rescue where they take you to the hospital if something serious happened, and they've shown economic benefit aside from like the humanitarian benefits. So country X should do the same. We're assuming that country X and country Y are similar and that they're both going to have the same benefits. Timely access to the kind of medical care that only specialized centers can provide could save the lives of many people. Sure. The earnings of these people would result in a substantial increase in country X's gross national product, and the taxes paid on those earnings would substantially augment government revenue. The earnings of these people would result... Are you saying the earnings of the people that are working in the medical center or the people that are being saved? Let's see. Could this save the lives of many people, and then the earnings of these people, the people that were saved, would result in a substantial increase in country X's gross national product and taxes. Okay. The argument depends on the assumption that yes, lifetime per capita income is roughly the same. No. It could be more costly, but maybe it's worth it. Because you should compare the cost of the trauma center to the lifetime earnings. Maybe the lifetime earnings outpace the cost. There would be a net increase in employment in country X if more persons. Yeah. Most people seriously do not now receive. Yeah, okay, so I think it's this one because, again, we're comparing country X to country Y, and like I said at the very beginning, that a big assumption that they were making was that country X is similar to country Y, so whatever country Y institutes, you can assume that if country X instituted the same thing, then they would have similar results. And part of this would be lifetime per capita income is roughly the same. Okay. Boom. All right. Okay. That's it. All right. Okay, I got 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm probably gonna have what? Either 2 reading comprehension or 1 reading, 1 LR. Alright, let's see. Let's listen to some music. Let's relax a little bit. Let me do 8 minutes. Okay, let's do 9 minutes because I'm gonna get an extra minute. Then we can, let's see, what do I have here? Let's finish my cafe. Oh no, I did not. Let's see. See what the people are saying. Thank you, the test is going well. Okay, let's see. Why do they want to keep the Second Amendment? I'm gonna send you a text, but I might. We'll see if you're still watching. I'll just send you a text. Let me actually. Okay, yeah. Let me. I'll still whatever. Okay. Ellis Island, I think it was called, right? Like in New York. But even then, I am certain that they knew exactly who was coming in. Our southern border is, how do I say this? There's no order. Alright, I think I need to go back. Alright, I'm gonna turn off my phone now. I'll check back in with you in a bit, in about an hour. Should. Mayday, mayday, I need back. She took my heart, that bitch is slash. Sure, in the meantime, I been running the racks up. In the meantime, I'm pulling the act up. Mayday, mayday, I need back. She took my heart, that bitch is slash. Sure, meantime, I been running the racks up. In the meantime, I'm pulling the act up. Okay. Alright, reading comp. In the 1980s, there was a proliferation of poetry collections, short stories, and novels published by women, oh nice, of Latin American, even better, descent in the United States. By the end of the decade, another genre of U.S. Latino writing, the autobiography, also came into prominence with the publication of three notable autobiographical collections, Loving in the Warriors, Lo que nunca pasó por sus labios by Cherry Moraga, Getting Home Alive by Aurora Levins Morales and Rosario Morales, and Borderlands / La Frontera, okay, of course, typical, by Gloria Anzaldúa. These collections are innovative at many levels. They confront traditional linguistic boundaries by using a mix of English and Spanish, and they each address the politics of multiple cultural identities by exploring their interrelationships among such factors as ethnicity, gender, and language. This effort manifests itself in the generically mixed structure of these works, which combine essays, sketches, short stories, poems, and journal entries, without, for the most part, giving preference to any of these modes of presentation. Okay, so let's start. Okay, these Latino women paved the way, most notably with autobiographies, and these autobiographies are revolutionary, let's say, because not only do they confront traditional linguistic boundaries, they use a mix of English and Spanish, they address politics, and they also address the differences between the cultures. They also combine different works of art, right? Essays, sketches. Okay, all right, I'm understanding. Okay. Oh my God. In Borderlands, okay, presents her personal history and the history of the Mexican American community, to which she belongs by juxtaposing narrative sequences and poetry. Moraga's Loving in the Warriors is likewise characterized by a mixture of genres, and as she states in her introduction, the events in her life story are not arranged chronologically, but rather in terms of her political development. Okay, so one person is juxtaposing narrative sequences, and another person is giving you her life story through a mixture of genres. And she's also the order is based on her political development and not chronologically of her life. Okay. According to one literary critic who specializes in the genre of autobiography, let me turn this off. Written by women who those traditionally written by okay, difference between written by women, those getting home alive departs even further from the conventions typical of autobiography by bringing together the voices of two people, a mother and her daughter, each of whom authors a portion of the text. Okay, the narratives and poems of each author are not assigned to separate sections of the text, but rather are woven together with a piece by one, sometimes commenting on a piece by the other. While this order may seem fragmentary and confusing, it is in fact a fully intentional and carefully designed experiment with literary structure. In a sense, this mixing of structures parallels the content of these autobiographies. The writers employ multi-generic and multivocal forms to express the complexities inherent in the formation of their identities. Rather than forcing their personal histories to conform to existing generic parameters, these writers have revolutionized. Okay, that's what I said at the beginning. I said that their writing is revolutionary for different reasons. Revolutionized the genre of autobiography, redrawing the boundaries. Okay, so they didn't come up with autobiography, but they made it different. They revolutionized it, redrawing the boundaries of this literary form to make it more amenable to the expression of their own experiences, so unique to them. In doing so, they have shown a strong determination to speak for themselves in a world that they feel has for too long taken their silence for granted. Okay. So these women, revolutionaries, they took the autobiography and they molded it. They added their own flavor to it, and each of the women is different, is unique in her own way. Okay. Which one of the following most accurately expresses the main point of the passage? Okay, I would say that's the main point. What I just said. Certain Latino writers who formerly wrote mostly poetry and fiction have found through experimentation that the genre... no. Well, there's nothing about, like, their revolutionariness. Okay, randomly set aside some standard conventions in an effort to make the genre more suitable for the expression of the... Okay, I like this more. There is great diversity of styles and narrative strategies among... no. Though recent experimentation through... Okay, I've shown that non-fictional narrative can be effectively combined... No. No, I like this. According to the passage, which one of the following was a motivating factor? Okay, so this is going to be literally in the passage. Which one of the following was a motivating factor in certain Latino authors' decisions regarding the structure of their autobiographical writings? Okay, so... Okay, so right down here, let's say, rather than forcing their personal histories to conform to existing, these writers have revolutionized, redrawing the boundaries. Okay. To make it more... Okay, what was the point of this? To make it more amenable to the expression of their own experiences. Okay. Okay, no. This is structure of the structure. Okay, so they want... So their identity is inherently complex, so they want their writing to be inherently complex as well. Preference to avoid overt, no. The complexities of identity formation faced by those authors, yes. Those authors' judgment that poetry should not be a narrative medium, no, it doesn't say anything about that. Those authors stated, according to the passage, which one of the following was the motivating factor in certain Latino authors' decisions regarding the structure of their autobiographical writings? Those authors stated intention of avoiding certain, I don't think so, like it says right here. The writers employ multigeneric to express the complexities inherent in the formation of their identities. To express the complexities, yes, okay. The author's discussion of getting home alive serves primarily to Getting Home Alive. Getting Home Alive departs even further from the conventions typical of autobiography by bringing together the voices of two people, a mother and her daughter. Okay, yes, okay. The author's discussion serves primarily to Yes, I think this would be it, because they said that this one was the one that departed the most. So, to illustrate the extent of certain Latino autobiographers' experimentation with form and structure. Yeah. The passage indicates which of one of the following about the Latino autobiographies that the author. The passage indicates which one of the following about the Latino autobiographies that the author discusses. So what does the passage indicate? Each contains some material that would ordinarily be regarded as belonging to. Each quotes from previously. No. Each contains analysis of the ways in which its content was influenced by its author's cultural background. Each can now be produced by more than. Some of them might. Do they each contain that? No, like this one is just her. Each includes explanations. Each includes explanations. Okay. I think this one is the only one where she explains why she does what she does, right? Okay, the passage indicates which one of the following. Each contains some material that would. Okay, yes. Poetry and narrative sequences. Okay, this one doesn't so much. Oh, I think it might be this one because it does include the methods. The methods. Okay, so what are her methods? Juxtaposing narrative sequences. Okay, what are her methods? Arranging her life story not chronologically. That's a method, and rather in terms of her political development. And this last one is in intertwining of narratives. So each. Okay. I'm gonna go with E. Based on passions out there. Okay. So this one departs even further, but I don't think she sees it. The author sees that as a negative. It explains why, and it says it might be confusing, but it's in fact fully intentional and carefully designed. In a sense, the mixing of structures parallels the content of these autobiographies. The writers employ multi-generic and multivocal. Yeah. So No, not disappointment. Expectation that readers and drop might not readily recognize. There's a clear. Yes, yes, because she's explaining the reason, and she gives credit to the fact that it might be confusing at first. No, no, she didn't talk anything about scholars and whatever. No, okay, boom. Let me find these. Okay. The author most likely intends to include which one of the following principles among the existing generic parameters? The author most likely intends to include which one of the following principles among the existing generic parameters referred to in the first sentence? Rather than forcing their personal histories to conform to existing generic parameters. Okay. Say, yeah. Okay. Rather than forcing their personal history. Yeah, because maybe your personal history. Yeah, personal experiences can be represented in a compelling way in any literary genre. But would you say that this literary genre that they're mostly talking about is autobiographies? Sequentially according to when they don't know. When different modes of presentation are combined in one literary, no one mode should be given preference. No. I like that one the best. Which one of the following would, if true, most undermine the author's claim in the first sentence of the final paragraph about the effect that the Latino discuss? Okay. Which one of the following, if true, most undermine the author's claim? Okay. So what weakens it? Rather than forcing their personal histories to conform to existing gender, and these writers redrawing the boundaries of more amenable to the expression of their own experiences. Okay, so they're saying here that they revolutionized the genre of autobiography, redrawing the boundaries of this literary. Okay, so maybe something that would undermine it would be like, oh no, this has been done before. So they're not revolutionizing anything. Okay, this is sort of what I said. That several 19th century autobiographies that are generally unknown among contemporary critics of 20th century are characterized by generically mixed structure and multiple authorship. Okay, so this is saying not... Okay, no, we're talking about autobiographies. They revolutionized the genre of autobiography, so why are you even talking about that? Few autobiographical works published after 1985. So this is 1980s. Okay, few have been recognized for the effective use of... Okay, irrelevant. Few critically acclaimed books written by Latino authors have been... Yeah, I would say this, because these people are saying that they revolutionized, they did something insane that has never been done, and this is saying that actually it might have been done already. Okay, while recent decades have seen more information recorded than any other era, the potential for losing this information is now greater than ever. Okay, so we have more information than any other era, but we also have a very high likelihood of losing it. This prospect is of great concern to archivists who are charged with preserving vital records and documents indefinitely. So the people that are most worried about this are the people that are in charge of making sure this stuff is preserved. Makes sense. One archivist notes that while the quantity of material being saved has increased exponentially, the durability of recording media has decreased almost as rapidly. Okay, so we're saving a ton of material, but maybe the quality of those recordings has decreased. The clay tablets that contain the laws of ancient Mesopotamia, for example, are still displayed in museums around the world, and many medieval manuscripts written on animal parchment still look as though they were copied yesterday, whereas books printed on acidic paper as recently as the 1980s are already unreadable. Black and white photographs will last for a couple of centuries, but most color photographs become unstable within 40 years, and videotapes last only about for 20 years. Okay, so the stuff that we used to have back in the day, 1,000 years ago, very high quality. It's on stone, let's say, high quality, doesn't degrade. But now the stuff that we have nowadays is this flimsy paper. We're using a lot of colored ink. That colored ink starts to fade. You can barely read it after 20, 40 years. Okay, makes sense. Okay, computer technology would seem to offer archivists an answer, as maps, photographs, films, videotapes, and all forms of printed material may not be transferred to and stored electronically on computer disks or tape, occupying very little space. Okay, so rather than having a VHS tape that you need to take care of and make sure it doesn't get wet or degrade, or it needs to be in nice, good room temperature type of environment, just transfer it over to the cloud or hard drive, and now you have 1,000 VHS tapes on one little hard drive, and that's a lot easier to take care of, let's say, right? And it takes up less space. But as the pace of technological change increases, so too does the speed with which each new generation of technology supplants the last. For example, many documents and images transferred in the 1980s to optical computer disks, then the cutting edge of technology, so CDs, may not now be retrievable because they depend on computer software and hardware that are no longer available. Yeah, so maybe these newer computers don't have, like, for example, my Mac Mini, many iMacs, they don't have something for you to put in your CD. So, yeah, it makes sense. And you can buy, like, an external CD player, I guess, and recent generations of digital storage tape are considered safe from deterioration for only 10 years. Yet, even as some archivists are reluctant to become dependent on ever-changing computer technology, they're also quickly running out of time. Even if viable storage, what do you mean they're running out of time? Because I guess the things are degrading. Even if viable storage systems are developed, new computer technologies are emerging that may soon provide archivists with the information storage durability they require. Discussions about what to keep and what to discard will have to be made quickly, as materials recorded on conventional media continue to deteriorate. Ideally, these decisions should be informed by an assessment of the value of each document. Yes, printed versions of ancient works by Homer and Virgil, for example, survived intact because their enduring popularity resulted in multiple copies of the works being made at different historical moments. But many great works, including those of Plato, were lost for several centuries and are known today only because random copies turned up in the archives of medieval monasteries or in other scholarly collections. Undoubtedly, many important works have not survived at all. The danger now is not so much that some recent masterpiece will be lost for an extended period of time, but rather that the sheer volume of accumulated records stored on non-durable media will make it virtually impossible for archivists to sort the essential from the dispensable in time to save it. Okay, I think I understand this. The main point of the passage is that we need to figure out a way to store these documents and these tapes that we have, and because these tapes, these modern ones, are deteriorating faster. They're lower quality. But they might be just as valuable, so we need to figure out a way to store them, to protect them. Okay, I like A. Modern data storage and retrieval techniques have been able to distinguish essential. No. 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 Yeah, so there's a ton of information that's being stored with decreasing durability, so we need to figure out that problem. Passage provides information sufficient to answer which one of the following questions. No, we don't know. Okay, what passage provides information sufficient to answer which one of the following questions. Okay, so these are the two questions. Oh, where's that? Where's that? For example, many documents and images transferred in the 1980s to then the cutting edge. When were optical storage disks a state-of-the-art storage medium? In the 1980s, right? Yeah, no, we don't know this. Passage most strongly suggests that the author holds which one of the following views? No. I think he believes that the electronic versions, like, those are good. Yes, computer technology would seem to offer archivists an answer. Okay, but, where's the but? But as the pace of technological change, so does the speed at which each new generation supplants the last. Okay, so electronical storage is good. But the thing is that this electronical storage is so quickly becoming outdated. Like, for example, we had CDs. That was a way to store a video electronically. But then that got supplanted by, like, the mid 2000s with, like, cell phones. You don't need to have a tape recorder with a little CD anymore. You can just record things on your phone. But now they're not retrievable. The CDs are useless now because you need a CD player, and most things don't have CD players anymore. Most computers don't have CD players. You need to buy an external one. It's just difficult. Yeah, even if ever changing, they are also quickly running out of time. So not only is computer technology changing so fast that you can't keep up with it, but also the things that you're trying to store are deteriorating just as fast. So you don't have any time. Okay. Passage most strongly suggests that the author holds which one of the following views. Archivists have little choice but to become dependent on computer technology. Okay, maybe. Yes, maybe. Archivists should wait for truly durable data. He doesn't really say that. Storing paintings, holding images presents greater overall problems for archivists than storing text does. No, it doesn't mention that at all. Generally, the more information one attempts to store in a given amount of space, the less durable is. No. Yeah, what else is there? Like, there's literally nothing else but computer technology. Don't show again. Which one of the following describes the author's primary purpose in mentioning the fact that a wide variety of images and documents can now be stored electronically? What's the point of him saying this? Okay. And all forms of print may now be transferred to and stored. Ostensible. What is ostensible? I don't like that word, but this is to identify a solution. Why do they have to use ostensible? A possible solution, maybe? To argue a point that is rejected in the last sentence of the passage. No. To offer an additional example of the problem stated at, no, this is a solution. Oh, Suggests that the danger described has been no. The passage provides the most support for inferring which one of the following statements: information stored electronically is more vulnerable than information stored to. No, it doesn't mention anything about that. Much of the information stored on an optical computer was subsequently transferred to digital storage tape. I don't know. I don't think so. The high cost of new electronic data storage systems is pretty. No, it doesn't talk anything about cost. Media used recently to store information may also be less durable than older conventional, such as the percentage of information considered essential by an increased proportion. Media used recently to store information electronically may ultimately be less durable than older conventional media. No, I would say the opposite. The percentage of information considered essential by archivists has increased. Does it ever say that? One article knows that while the quantity of material being saved has increased exponentially, but they never talk about the maybe because okay, down here they say the clay tablet, okay, written on animal are still look as good as they were copied, whereas books printed on acidic paper as recently are already unreadable. Media used recently to store information electronically may ultimately be less durable than older conventional media, such as photographs and videotapes. Black and white photographs will last for a couple centuries, but most, yeah. But this whole thing of media used recently to store information electronically. Hold on, it's not this. No. No, it doesn't say that. I'm gonna go with D. It's like the best worst answer. Passage most strongly suggests that the author holds which one of the following views? Okay, we're on 13. Okay, I only got through 2 passages. It's fine. I have so much to review. This passage most strongly suggests that the author holds which one of the following views? We have a big issue with media storage. Electronic storage might be the solution, but there are some forms of electronic storage that are not durable, such as CDs, and that are becoming outdated very quickly, such as CDs. So we need to find a solution for that, but there is hope, because at the end he says that even if new computer technologies are emerging that may soon provide archivists with the information storage durability they require. So there is still hope. False. This literally says the opposite. I don't know. It doesn't really say anything about that. Yeah, I would say so, because new material is being produced so quickly, and that material is deteriorating as quickly. So, like back then, like during the Mesopotamian times, you'd write whatever you wanted on this clay tablet, and it would survive forever. So you didn't really have to pick and choose on, okay, we need to make sure we keep this. No, everything's gonna survive. So I like that. Okay, I can answer one at least. In Canadian and United States common law, blackmail is unique among major crimes. No one has yet adequately explained why it ought to be illegal. The heart of the problem, known as the blackmail paradox, is that two acts, each of which is legally permissible separately, become illegal when combined. If I threaten to expose a criminal act or embarrassing private information unless I am paid. But the right to free speech may protect my rights to make such a disclosure, and in many circumstances I have a legal right to seek money. So why is it illegal to combine them? Why is it illegal for me to say what I want about you? I can say what I want about you, and I can seek money. But when I start to say what I want about you because I'm seeking money, that's an issue. Okay, the lack of a successful theory of blackmail has damaging consequences. Drawing a clear line between legal and illegal acts has proved impossible without a successful theory of blackmail. Consequently, most blackmail statutes broadly prohibit behavior that no one really believes is criminal, and rely on the good judgment of prosecutors not to enforce relevant statutes precisely as written. The blackmail. Okay, so basically the point of this is it's trying to explain why it's illegal to blackmail, because on the face of it, if you separate the two acts, saying what you want about someone, like saying this person, let's say maybe you were blackmailing someone for cheating, right? Maybe they cheated on their spouse, and you wanna tell the world about it, tell their spouse about it, and you won't do it if they pay you. You can easily tell there's no law prohibiting you from telling someone that they got cheated on. Yeah, I'm not gonna have time. Okay. Oh my god, I got one more thing. One more passage. When a forest is subject to acid rain, the calcium levels in the soil declines. Spruce, fir, and sugar maple trees all need calcium to survive. However, sugar maples and forests that receive significant emotional like that show signs. Okay. Let me take literally a minute to breathe. Okay. When a forest is subject to acid rain, the calcium level in the soil declines. Okay, so acid rain maybe lowers calcium level, maybe. Spruce, fir, and sugar maple trees all need calcium to survive. So, however, sugar maples in forests that receive. Okay, so for some reason, although spruce, fir, and sugar maple trees all need calcium, the sugar maples are much more likely to show the signs of consistent calcium deficiency. Okay, so it says here that spruce, fir, and maple trees all need calcium to survive, but it doesn't exactly say how much they need it. So maybe sugar maple trees need more calcium, or spruce and fir trees are more robust to calcium deficiency. So although they need it, they can better adapt to calcium deficiency. Whereas sugar maple trees, they need it and they need a lot of it, so it affects them more when there's less. Irrelevant. They should, if they could say sugar maples, okay, require more calcium. Then okay, I'm like spruces, firs. I'm like can extract. Yeah, so this would make sense. Um, like I said, originally I predicted spruce and the fir can adapt to calcium deficiency. This is exactly that. They're adapting because they have the ability to extract calcium. Okay. Syndicated political columnists often use their newspaper columns to try to persuade readers to vote a certain way. Okay. Fair. However, their efforts to persuade voters rarely succeed, for by the time such a column appears, nearly all who will vote in the election will have already made a decision about which candidate to vote for. Also, at the same time, many newspapers probably lean one way politically, so they hire columnists who are going to write that way. So it's not like someone that reads CNN or or Fox News is suddenly going to be awakened, right? I'd say they assume that. Yeah, yeah. Syndicated. Business class, because surveys show that business travelers additional spots. Airlines offer the travel. Okay, several airlines are increasing level. Okay, very simple. Who cares about percentages? How much? What percentage of the revenue? Because let's say maybe you have 20 business class people, but in total their business class ticket accounts for I don't know, let's say $200,000, each person pays 10,000, so 200,000, versus the 80 who purchase regular tickets, maybe they pay 1,000 each, let's say. Uh, so in total, it's what, 80,000 compared to 200,000? No, doesn't matter the percentage of travelers. What's the percentage of revenue? Business travel to make travel, whether they feel given some business undertake on. Yes, that's exactly what I said. Far greater proportion of airlines revenue. Okay, yeah. Gabby, in school, children should be allowed to should be allowed fully to follow in school. Children should be allowed to fully follow their own interests, supported by experienced teachers who offer minimal guidance. This enables them to be most successful in their adult lives. Okay, so this is like Acton, and this is like tyrannical school. Okay. Okay, comments provide most support for the claim that they what do they disagree about? So this is her point, the conclusion that whatever these are the premises, this enables them to be most successful in their adult lives. And Logan says I disagree. So they disagree about what will enable children to be the most successful in their adult lives. She thinks it's allowing them to follow their own interests and supported by experienced teachers at a minimum, versus he thinks that it's no, they should actually learn the fundamentals of school and be taught it by disciplined teachers and through a systemic approach. Okay, yeah. No. The sort of school environment that most fosters. No, they don't care about creativity. They care about the success of children. Okay, so they're both okay. They both think it's important because they're obviously both mentioning it. But it's mostly about the extent to which the teacher should direct the school children's education. She's not really here talking about fundamental. The case before me involves a plaintiff and 3 co-defendants. The plaintiff has applied to the court for an order permitting her to question each defendant without their co-defendants or their co-defendants' legal counsel being present. 2 of the co-defendants, however, share the same legal counsel. The court will not order any co-defendant to find new legal counsel. I just keep saying counsel. Therefore, the order requested by the plaintiff cannot be granted. Hold on, what is the order being requested? Why not? She just wants the people to be there by themselves, to be questioned by themselves. Even if we have the same lawyer, I can be questioned by myself, you can be questioned by yourself. Who cares? Conclusion of the judges. Share the same legal counsel. Well, she's not asking them to find new legal counsel. That's why I'm confused. Court cannot issue an order that forces legal counsel to disclose information. I don't think they're talking about this. Defendants have the right to have their legal counsel present when being questioned. It's the only thing that I can think of, but I don't feel like it matches anything here. The calm, shallow waters of coastal. Maybe let's go back. Let's actually know this. Let's actually answer this. The conclusion of the judge's argument is most strongly supported. What's the conclusion? That the order requested by the plaintiff cannot be granted because the court will not order any co-defendant to find. But why do they need to find new legal counsel? And that's my question. The conclusion is most strongly supported if which one of the following principles is assumed to hold. I don't know how this is relevant. Whatever. That's literally the only thing I can think of. In the calm, shallow waters of coastal estuaries are easily polluted by nutrient-rich sewage. When estuary waters become over-nutrified as a result, algae proliferate. The abundant algae, in turn, sometimes provide a rich food source for the fish, thereby killing most of the fish in the estuary. Calm, shallow waters of coastal estuaries are easily polluted by nutrient-rich sewage. Okay, hold on. My brain feels fried. Okay, the calm, shallow waters of coastal estuaries are easily polluted by nutrient-rich sewage. Okay, so these bodies of water are being polluted by sewage. Okay, so, but, wait, they have so the sewage has nutrients that the algae can consume. So there's a ton of algae. And then the abundant algae, in turn, sometimes provide a rich food source for microorganisms that are toxic to fish. So, more sewage means more nutrients in the water. More nutrients means more algae. More algae means more microorganisms. More microorganisms means more toxicity to fish. More toxicity to fish means less fish. I'm fishing in an estuary that have been polluted by sewage. Maybe. In estuary waters that contain abundant toxic fish. We don't know. Yeah, it's sort of what it's saying. Algae will not pollute rainbows. Okay, well this kind of just states the conclusion. Okay, I'll go with that one. Copacabana. Yeah, I like A. Who cares about today? It's relevant with the green. Yeah. Yes. So they're consuming fat through other means. Okay, just these two. People who reduce their consumption of red meat tend to consume as much of other foods. Okay, so they're saying that they actually consume more fat, and this is the only one that says that they're are eating food that's richer in fat, versus this one saying that they're eating other foods that are that have just as much fat. So I'm gonna say D is a better answer. No, who cares? Yeah, he fails to apply a general rule to all relevant instances. So the general rule is that property lines in prairie view actually start 20 feet away, and then all the relevant instances are all the other properties that they looked at that day. Okay, let's figure out what's the main conclusion. This is the main conclusion. So jazz consists largely of voice-like horns and horn-like voices, because the best jazz singers. Okay, so this is. No, it is not the argument's main conclusion. It is not the only conclusion. Maybe. Yes, it is a statement. It is a statement for which some evidence is provided, this right here, which in turn is used to provide support. All this supports. So, jazz consists largely of voice-like horns, yeah. No, it has evidence. Reducing class sizes in our school district would require hiring more teachers. However, there's already a shortage of qualified. Reducing class sizes in our school district would require hiring more teachers. Okay, so less students per class. Let's say you have 100 students and you only want 10 students per class. Now you need 10 teachers versus before you had 30 students, you only needed 3. Okay, makes sense. So you need to hire more teachers. However, there's already a shortage of qualified teachers in the region. Although students receive more individualized instruction when classes are smaller, education suffers when teachers are underqualified. Therefore, reducing class sizes in our district would probably not improve overall student achievement. See, the assumption is get this. It's probably a number 3. Which one of the following is an assumption for the educator's argument? I see. I should be able to predict this. No. Education suffers when teachers are underqualified. It says who? How do you know that hiring more teachers would not improve the achievement of any? Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Okay, the conclusion is that there aren't going to be more frequent and intense tropical storms. We thought that there would be due to increased temperatures, but that really there are more factors that contribute to storms, or that could contribute to counteracting storms. So basically, storms are not a result of only temperature. There are other things that can affect them. Yes. Okay. Yep. Let me explain that. Oh, okay. So the conclusion. Okay. Copyright was originally the grant of temporary government-supported monopoly on copying work. Its sole purpose. Okay, this is big. Its sole purpose was to encourage the circulation of ideas by giving authors the opportunity to derive a reasonable financial reward from their works. So the purpose was to incentivize authors by giving authors money for their works. However, copyright sometimes goes beyond its original purpose, and sometimes copyrights hold for many years after an author's death. So if the original purpose was to incentivize the authors to produce more and to receive money for their work, the copyright is still holding for many years after their death. The author's not being incentivized, and they're not receiving any money because they're dead. Critic to economist. In yet another of your bumbling forecasts, last year you predicted that this country's economy would soon go into recession if current economic policies were not changed. Instead, economic growth is even stronger this year. There was nothing at all bumbling about my warning. Indeed, it can convince the country's leaders to change economic policies, which is what prevent. Okay, I'm on 16. Let's go. Boom. And yet another one of your bumbling forecasts last year for this country. So basically this is saying that, yeah, the response is, my economic predictions were based on this reality. But this reality was changed by government officials. So indicating that the state of affairs on which the economist's prediction, the state of affairs, the state of living, the state of reality on which the economist's prediction was done in relationship to, right? Like, I predicted you were going to lose the race because you were walking at the beginning of it. But then when I told you that, you started to run and you didn't lose the race. It's not that my prediction was off, because I was predicting based on the information I had at hand. I think C is right. I'm going to say I think C is right. Let me just remove all these. So basically what they're saying is that if you try to judge something so there's this thing, right? Let's say this phenomenon. In this case, it was music videos. If you use music videos or use that phenomenon of music videos to generalize about music at that time, you'd be mistaken, because the people that were making music videos were in a niche, a specific niche. So they were the ones that were making music videos, which is very similar to this one. Because if I try to, the phenomenon in this case is works published in CD-ROM format. If I try to judge publishers generally based on CD-ROM format or works published in CD-ROM format, the people that were publishing works in CD-ROM format were part of a niche. They were the ones interested in computer games. So it's not an accurate depiction of publishing trends. Let's see, what do we think? Oh my god. Okay, this isn't horrible. Look at, okay, this accuracy, this is good. This is very good. Okay. 88, 85, 77, 83. Beautiful. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to let's go. Going to create a Google Doc, or no, Google Sheet. So we're going to let's do practice test Boom. Okay. So let's do what date? Okay, date. Let me just write this down on my own first, and then I'll figure out how I want to put it. Oh my god. Okay, so what's today? January 26th. Score 150. LR. Bro. LR minus 9. 16. 25. 14. 16. Score. Let's just do percentages, right? That'll probably be easier. Oh, I need to do both. Oh man. Okay. Whatever. I'm gonna do this later. But I just want to compare real quickly. I'm gonna take a picture of this. Let's see. Cause okay, although my score is lower, low key I did better. So look right here immediately. So score same. Oh my god, literally the same. 56%. Accuracy was a lot higher. So this was what? Test 146, test 135. So this was, yeah, 14 days ago. Okay. Hold on. So this one I had 71, 71, 73, 52. Okay. Okay, so actually I could probably just do this. Let me take that. Okay. Okay, this makes sense because in my drilling yeah, so like my accuracy is 71, 71, 73, and then it drops to 52 versus 88, 85, 83. Like, yeah, no, yeah. Reading comprehension is tough because it's just so much reading. It's just so much reading. Yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna review this, try to be done with all my inbox. So on LSAT Demon, let's see, there's an inbox here. So I'm gonna try to finish all of these, get this done. Or let's see, like review, right? Can I click this? Start reviewing? Yeah, I can start reviewing. So, yeah. So tomorrow I'm gonna finish all the ones that I didn't finish. Tuesday, review. Try to get through all of my inbox. By Wednesday, do one timed RC section. Okay, let me see. Since you're okay, try phonics. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, by the way, these images I shared are of full length practice tests. They were timed and everything. 35 minutes each section with a minute break in between and 10-minute break after section 2. That makes your stamina improving and more impressive or full length. LR makes up 50% of your score. Well, what? RC makes up... Oh my god. So I shouldn't be too disappointed with a lower overall LSAT score. Alright, beautiful. Okay. Two hours and 15 minutes, awesome.